their exodus into Vietnam. This is all relative because then you're going to put the pieces that we're cooking right now. We're baking, we're cooking, right? We're putting the ingredients in. They went to Vietnam. And not too far after, we see ourselves in the Vietnam War. And during the Vietnam War, you will hear some of your GIs talking about they were seeing beings that they'd never seen before. They actually had these glasses, which we were trying to get. We actually know the ingredients to make the glasses, which we still trying to procure the ingredients to make the glasses, but a lot of the GIs were using a form of technology where they had these glasses on and they were seeing these beings like next to their helicopters when they were
So
flying. They were
yeah,
saying,
like I said, these are interdimensional beings. And so they operate and their body function operates on a different frequency. And the frequency that they operate on, you can't really see it with the naked eye. And due to our sunlight patterns and angles, it prevents us from actually see them. So at nighttime, you can't even see them. But with the flash of a picture, you are able to capture the image of them. You know, they can be right in front of you. They can, you know, we're talking about interdimensional beings with interdimensional suits on, you know, suits that and gear that is directly crafted for interdimensional travel. And so I actually have pictures of what some of these aliens look like or some of these interdimensional beings look like. Now, she brought up insectoids and things of that nature. There are, like I said, 82 different species of interdimensional or transdimensional beings. I have images of around 16 of them. I have personal photos of about 2 of them that I might show you guys at the end of this live stream.
like the the actual um guerrilla warfare. Interesting. Big up to Rod Hayes, because whenever I think about guerrilla, I think about Rod. You know what I mean? Big up to Rod Hayes. But guerrilla warfare was very much reminiscent of what they talked about within Vietnam. But do you see that? Thank you, Chief Malatank. I love your name. It's beautiful, so native. Thank you, Chief. Mwah. I appreciate it. So they were attacking the Vietnamese, and no one really understood what the Vietnamese war was about. You know that America lost because the amazing strength, fortitude of these so-called Nigerians that used to be in Cambodia that did their exodus into Vietnam. They were clever, smart, and probably had the assistance of having some extraterrestrial abilities and technology that helped them to win against the Americans who were trying to usurp and get in there. And over the last couple of years, as many of you I've mentioned over time, in Vietnam, I don't know if you noticed that nightmare of geogenocide, bioterrorism, has been making his effort to go over to Vietnam over the last 2 years. Okay, he's been making his rounds over there. That's why when you used to go in Vietnam, there weren't chemtrails, and now in Vietnam, there's chemtrails and other things going on, thanks to your wonderful Willy Wonka systems. Because if they can't get you, they're going to get you some way or another. Okay, so why do I bring this up? Because there is something linked to the fact that there's a phenotype that is very connected to the beings on Nibiru, and also lets me know that we've had sleeper cells that the United States and other countries have known to have existed, and they know what the people generally look like, but they don't know how to decipher whether they're part of the regular population or they're foe from another interterrestrial or extraterrestrial origin. Okay, and this is also why the Haitians were also attacked as
Do y'all hear that? That these government can't even distinguish between the interdimensional transdimensional beings and the niggas on Earth, or in particularly the niggas in the Western Hemisphere. They can't distinguish the difference. They know that they're here, but they can't look at me and you in the chat and say, which one of you guys are the aliens? Because they all look like us. They actually are us. These interdimensional beings are ancient indigenous nations and civilizations that left Earth somewhat 130,000 years ago.
to the beings on Nibiru. And also lets me know that we've had sleeper cells that the United States and other countries have known to have existed, and they know what the people generally look like, but they don't know how to decipher whether they're part of the regular population or they're foe from another interterrestrial or extraterrestrial origin. Okay. And this is also why the Haitians were also attacked as well. We're going to go into all the nations that Willy Wonka and his League of Doom have been targeting and how they're all interconnected and come from the blood lineage of the Nibiru. Okay, so the Haitians, which big up to M again, who is like the mastermind of our group, who talked about the fact that the Haitians have been attacked for the longest time. They also had a empire that the Americas has forgotten that they were the ones who liberated yourself in the United States, Ecuador, Colombia, parts of Haitian itself, which I love that M said this. Big up to M. I don't see M in here yet, but I want to give her all the credit. Haitian, in the word Haitian, is Asian. Do you see I'm cooking? Do you get it? Haitian, Asian. Why is that infused in that lexicon? Why is that? Because it's not really the name, it's IT. If anybody knows who anyone for the Creole bloodline, you know, is IT. But it's interesting that they named them Haitian, which has Asian in it. Do you see what I'm getting? Okay, so all of the different, and let's get into the Japanese and the encampments that they kept at the time when they were attacking, when Pearl Harbor occurred, which obviously, you know, we got some wonderful people, especially some patriots who talk about the PSYOP with that. That was another false flag created by your Willy Wonka systems and his League of Doom to create a narrative so that you can then hunt down a specific people that you feel might be the origin of the Niberians and to put them all in encampments and give an excuse why you put them in encampments, but you're not telling the collective that you're not really demonizing the country of Japan. You are trying to look for a specific sleeper cell of beings that are Niberians, that are scouts, that have been coexisting here on land, watching and monitoring your dirty deeds for all these years. So rather than you say that out loud, what you do is you create a whole false narrative, create a war into it, and have an excuse to put all these Japanese Americans in encampments, and so that you can isolate them, that specific phenotype, that look that you know looks similar to some of the Niberians, and try to weed them out. And unfortunately for some of the Japanese that were kept in those encampments, it is our theory that wait a second, holy cow, my phone just glowed pink. Did someone just do something? I've never seen it do that. You didn't just see what I'm okay, I'm gonna keep going. I think that's them. That's wild. You didn't see it. I'm kind of bugging out. I'm sorry. I'm geeking right now. I'm geeking. My whole phone, it does it like if you put certain things, my whole phone turned pink as I'm talking about it. Big up to Nigerians in the motherfucking house. So let me continue to cook. So we had the Japanese that were in encampments. Now, why this matters is because later on there was a YouTuber, big, and I was frozen. So it froze too? Holy cow. Okay, okay, I'll keep going. Did you guys hear about the Japanese in encampment? Put a 13 if did you hear that? When did they, I don't know what you didn't hear. Okay, let me keep going. Did you hear about, did you guys, okay, I'm gonna keep cooking, keep cooking. My daughter says that. I love when she does that. It's so cute. Okay, they put them in encampments, and I'm telling you this because you're going to see the connection to why United States and other countries will vilify specific origins and certain people and certain nationalities and why they do it. It's really, and they'll give you an excuse for another reason, but it's not what you think. So they put these Japanese in encampments, and they, after the encampments they were released, the Japanese were released, a lot of them were given bioweapons that gave them cancer later. They were given, and you know, I don't know if you realize a lot of times certain foreigners will come in the country and they will suggest they get certain weaponized bioweapons be called inoculations, and it's really time release cancers and diseases that they will get after a certain period of time when they're here. And it depends on the nationality you come from. They'll give you a certain kind of, and this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and I'm not qualified to say this. This is in my opinion from what I've noticed and observed myself. So after many of the Japanese were released from them, a lot of them got some, at least some that we know personally from someone we know. 2 of them specifically got cancer, a specific kind of cancer at the same time. So we know that during the time that they were in these encampments, they were giving them bioweapons and releasing them into the population. And then later, a lot of them died earlier than they should have because of this, my opinion. Okay, so when they released the Japanese, we didn't know, and I could tell this when I'm like in Brazil, because I always just a question, like, how come in Brazil was there a population, like, big up to my family in Liberdade. I love Liberdade in Brazil. It's in São Paulo. If you ever go anywhere, it's such a beautiful community. It's in Liberdade. It's in Brazil, in São Paulo, and it's a Japanese community. And it holds Brazil holds the 3rd largest Japanese community in the world outside of Japan. I don't know if you know that. It's a fun fact. Teach your children, give them some fun facts. It's great for you to give new information to your children so they're not totally brain fogged by all the false narratives that their textbooks, well, we don't get textbooks anymore, the technology in their schools tell them, which is a lie. Okay. So they're the 3rd largest community in Brazil. But also I had a C-star who was on a channel in Mexico, and I used to watch her because she always talk about she's Mexican origin generationally, but she married an Englishman. She talked about what it was like to relocate to Mexico, and she decided to do a 23andMe genetic test. Now I'm cooking, y'all. I'm going to get to the Nigerians. Just wait, let me get the information in there so you can understand where I'm going. So one day on YouTube, she decides to do a 23andMe test. She's Mexican origin. She just wants to know like different things. She was always told that she looked very Asian, but she just wanted to know the different origins of the type of native Hispanic that she was, like native Mexican that she was. So she did the test, and lo and behold, she got a shocking reveal that she had about 30 to 40% Japanese in her. Now, here she's saying to herself, where did the Japanese come from? She has been generationally living inside of Mexico. No one has ever been to Japan. No one even knew anything. And then someone in the family says, there was an aunt, I think it was Aunt or Abuela. I think it was an aunt or abuela, or like an auntie kind of abuela, who had a name that started with a K, which is very reminiscent of the Japanese names, like Kekega, they have Ks on their names. And that in itself lent to the person brought in. But it couldn't have just been that aunt, because 40% Japanese is saying that there's a lot more Japanese within the other family members who contributed to that high DNA count. That's a large amount of DNA to be Japanese, but living in Mexico and being perceived as Mexicans. And why I'm leading you into this, because what is the other group that United States has vilified over the last 20, 30 years? It has been our amazing, our smart, and our most conscious group, which are the Mexicanos. So big to our Mexican family in here, which I've always talked about the fact that I found it very interesting out of the whole Latin community, that the most consciousness I've ever experienced, coming from a Latin background, from my French background, coming from the other Latin diasporas that I travel into, the most consciousness I've ever experienced has been from who, y'all? The Mexicano people. And when we go into the Incans and the Maya and all the other groups, now it started to ring that the consciousness that was denoted and the targeting and the marginalization and the demonization of the Mexican people was perfectly and purposefully geoengineered by Willy Wonka systems, because they understood that there was a group of Mexicanos who held some of this alien DNA. I'm not saying that the Japanese is a DNA, but I'm saying that it's the Asian DNA that they had was very much probably connected to the Nigerians that had hidden within the groups of Mexico And that's why they wanted to vilify and marginalize. And they have been doing this for a long time because they knew, even though they could not decipher friend from foe, they wanted to make sure no one truly felt comfortable, or the Nigerians that were sleeper cells, that were basically scouts living amongst us, were not going to be as accepted coming into the country. Are you seeing what I'm going here, y'all? You see what I'm going? So here we go, y'all. Now we're in 2025. We have just witnessed, I started maybe 6 months ago, the visual manifestation of orbs coming out of the sea. Hold on, y'all. I can't see. I can't read all the comments now. I'm trying to read some of them. Orbs coming to the sea, and as a result of these orbs showing up, of course, Willy Wonka and his League of Doom have to give you another visual representation and give you a new terminology called UAP, unidentified UAP, unidentified aerial flying object, whatever they call it, whatever they call it, UAP, right? That's a new terminology. None of you have heard of it before. They're gaslighting us by telling us it was a terminology we've always used. Now, me coming from the UFO community, me being a staple in the UFO community, way more than 20 years, that wasn't a terminology ever used until 2024, around the end and the beginning of 2025. That was a new terminology that we heard. Now, maybe in NASA and other maybe places that, corporations that were into the field of studying space and all that, they may have used that terminology, but it wasn't something that wasn't a lexicon that we ever used. Okay. So once the orb showed up, they like to counter attack it because they know that you're seeing something that looks supernatural. So what do? They release their own man-made reverse engineered technology that they've always had. And all of a sudden you saw all these drones, super drones. Some of the drones were witnessed looking almost half the size of a bus, like a huge bus that drives on a
Yeah, but there's some natural phenomenon of things that we're not able to really understand, and one of those are these plasmic discharges. You have spontaneous plasma discharges, which creates a ball effect, a ball of light effect, which scientists haven't even really started studying that. Big Operation Power is already on that. So within the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to start hearing that conversation, implementing it. And I got this from some of my people that is in the higher ups. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, it's called plasma, spontaneous plasma discharge. This is something that happens on this universe, in this atmosphere, around the galaxy, that they can't really explain. They're not even understanding how that even occurs.
When did we ever see these drones? But the drones only showed up after. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The orb showed.
And a lot of these UAPs that we're seeing are not even real interdimensional crafts. They're actually man-made craft from re-engineered technology from about 10,000 years ago. We're talking about 10,000-year-old technology that has been re-engineered by our government today, and they got secret craft. They got a whole stuff going on. I mean, from Blackwater's Foundation to Los Alamos, Lockheed Martin just released their new skin. They got something that's called the skin ship. It's literally made out of some type of nanotechnology skin. It actually grows, it moves, it has, it's weird. It's crazy.
Showed up first, and then as a counterattack to kind of psyop your psychology, they throw in something that they know you've never witnessed before, so they can all make it seem like it's
just like back in the day that we was having a Cold War during the Soviet wars, the Soviet Union days. They were having a secret war of who can build the most weapons. Right now, there's a secret war right now amongst the shadow government, the interdimensional beings, and other governments around the world. Are having a tech war. Who can create the best technology? Who's creating the best tech? I just got word that one of these car companies is going to be using magnetism in their vehicles. They're going to be introducing a new magnetism, some type of O2 oxygen separator combustion, using just magnetism in water. I heard that, I forget what car company that
First.
is.
And then
Go check out Randall Carson's uh, recent live stream. He goes into that.
as a counterattack to kind of psyop your psychology, they throw in something that they know you've never witnessed before, so they can all make it seem like it's all part of the same goulash. Okay, so thus you see all of these aerial things that are unidentifiable, so you assume that they are all they are connected, and they aren't. One is a result of what shows up first. Okay, so those were probes. The orbs that we were seeing were probes that were set up. What activated the probes to be released is when your President Trump was placed in a position of power and presidency. It activated the probes to come out and to monitor the situation, and then also as a counter reaction to it, your Willy Wonka system is League of Doom. They released their hidden technology that has always existed that you may have not seen previously, and they put it up in the sky. Now, some of you remember they just kind of made it seem like it was only in New Jersey. That was a lie. The orbs were seen all over the world. Okay. Now I'm going to cook a little bit more because I got to refresh you and bring you back to things that they were doing that you may have not met, did not know were connected to what is happening now with the National Guard.
Now I want she about to put some shit together right here. I want y'all to really just walk with the sister. She's about to paint a very, very vivid picture and try to make some very, very close correlations. Now, do I believe it? I don't know, but it is quite intriguing. So let's get into it.
I did not know were connected to what is happening now with the National Guard, that all of a sudden, these Asiatic men are supposedly doing psyops and shooting people. Okay, so let's go into that. So now we have this concept of we have these beings showing up. Wait, no, hold on. I was just cooking it. Hold on, like I lost my thought. All right, so now we have these orbs that showed up. They just said it was in New Jersey. Okay. Now, let's go a little further. Let's go about 2 months back. I know I'm going all over the place, but I'm giving you little pieces of the puzzle so that you can see the bigger collective picture of where I've came with the acknowledgement that what is happening now is a group of Nigerians have been activated as sleeper cells, and they're trying to make you see a certain people and vilify them because they want to use you as their scapegoat of finding them, because they may not be able to identify them in a population of melanated people who have Asiatic features. Okay, so now you see in Times Square, we see this dastardly image of a brown woman, which was what, 7 feet tall? How large was the woman's image, a brown woman? We had a lot of conversations about it, spoofing the image, saying, wow, you put a brown woman in Times Square. And in Italy, I think there were, how many? There were 5. I think it was 1 in Italy, one in Times Square. Where was the other one, y'all? It was Times Square, Italy. Where was the other image? Do you guys know the other image? Let's see if you know where the other. Do you guys remember? Because I don't remember the other countries. I think, was it UK too? There were 5. I think it was 5. See if any of you remember. How many were there? There were 13. If anybody can remember the Netherlands, okay, someone said the Netherlands. Can anyone, at least if you remember, or can you quickly look up and you could just put them inside of here? Because I don't remember which places. It just, out of the blue, all of a sudden. Now, why does this matter? If the majority of the world hates brown women, just on social media, because behind closed doors, many brown women understand that we're fetishized. Every man has tried to covenant brown women. The number one woman that's being sexually trafficked and also used for organs is the brown woman throughout the planet. So for those who I'm saying this to, you got to realize what's on the outside social media does not mean what's on the back leg. Okay, so brown women generally are vilified all over the planet. They're mistreated by their own men a lot of times. They're mistreated by the environment, but they're definitely fetishized and they're utilized. So they demonize them publicly. They make it very hard for them to keep stability within family dynamics because they geoengineer men to have a hatred or dislike of them and fetishize other women so that they can leave them open to be attacked, kidnapped, and harvested or sexually trafficked. Okay, it's just a fact. And this is not something for conjecture. This is a fact. Okay, so look at the number one woman that is always kidnapped and used for either organ harvesting or sexually trafficked. It is the melanated woman. It's throughout the world. And you have to ask yourself why. Why would that be a woman that they do that to, but then they put statues of women, brown women all over the world? You don't like them, you talk about them, and you make videos with the most ratchet artists showing us in the most disdainful way that most brown women don't act like. But then you have the audacity to put images of these brown women out of the blue and illuminate them in the most mundane way. And it's not like you made brown women look beautiful. Like, the most brown women, that looks good. She's dressed up. She looks amazing. Her hair looks amazing. You just put frumpy brown women all over the globe as if we should. You got to ask yourself, why would they do that? Why would you put these statues?
Right. Think about it. Maybe they know that the aliens is coming back is actually Black Americans. Black people, you know what I'm saying? And guess what? They like, damn, y'all been treating the Black people wrong this whole time. Really, they have. And so now they faking like they've been memorializing by creating these statues all around the world. Like, look, we've been promoting them and revering them the whole time. You know what I'm saying? To try to make it seem like, I don't know, man. This one
looks amazing. Her hair looks amazing. You just put frumpy brown women all over the globe as if we should. You got to ask yourself, why would they do that? Why would you put these statues of brown women? If you're going to do it, normally you put the most illuminating images. Because, I mean, when you see brown women who really like themselves, they done up. But you put frumpy pictures of brown women all over the globe, and you don't give us, we don't get context of that. You don't get context. What is the context of you doing that? Like, this is a woman that you don't like because everything on social media that all of your social media support is showing the least of brown women in the most dastardly way. And, big up to Lisa, who's also on my channel, who mentioned something like even the TV shows will have like housewives of California, LA or California, you'll have housewives of Atlanta, but no one on the housewives of Atlanta that's primarily brown women has husbands, but the housewives of LA that you're all lunars all have husbands. Do you understand? So they create the most dastardly imaging, make sure that all social media vilifies brown women, even though they're the most coveted and the most procured on the planet. And then you have the audacity to put these frumpy images all over the world. Why would you do that? Maybe because you knew something was incoming, and maybe to try to buy time so that the beings, Nigerians who were coming to Earth, weren't seeing how cruel and nasty the planet had turned on brown women, the mothers, the matrons, the wombs of the world who birthed all nations into existence. You didn't want them to see that, did you, Willy Wonka? So what you did is you put the most dastardly, you didn't want brown women to feel good about themselves, but you wanted to make it seem like to other beings coming here, because they don't have context of how women dress. They just see a brown woman being illuminated statues, and they're like, oh, they're not hurting brown women. Look at these beautiful statues they have of them up, even not knowing that it's like a Cinderella story. Like, she's dressed in rags. You put them up, but in context to an alien, they don't see that. They just see images of brown melanated women, statues all over. So they think, oh, it's good. They must be treating them okay. And then I want you to remind you that there were also images in the Times Square. Still cooking, of images of these brown men on the screens. Do you guys remember that? Let me see if you remember that. Does anyone remember the brown images of the brown men all over the screens out of the blue? It was in Times Square. They had these weird images. And again, after we get off of YouTube, I will post and remind you of the images that they showed in Times Square. Why this is relative, because I don't think that many of you understand and understand that it's all interconnected. See, because many people don't pay attention to everything. They just kind of compartmentalize it. And sometimes they don't interrelate things as being connected and why your governmental systems do things. And that will let you know that they are planning and plotting, but they're giving you imagery and non-context of things so that you don't put everything together. You're not spinning everything, relating it together. Okay, so you have these images of these men. It didn't look wild. It was brown men, right? Brown men on the images, and the brown men just look kind of odd. They didn't look like what we consider to be like earthly men, like earthy brown men of this modern time. It was like images of brown men, and there were no context to the images that they were showing. It's just kind of like images that were kind of a little bit subhuman, like a little bit odd. Their features were odd, the way that they looked. So I realized that most likely, now this is a theory, does not mean this is true, but I theorized that is that they may have had an image of an ET that they may have collected, kidnapped, maybe killed, or seen and witnessed and knew that was one. So they put that image on the screen, what we have zero context of, but they know who that being is to fool those others who are perceptually seeing the orbs, because remember, the orbs are now showing up. Remember, this didn't happen until after the orbs showed up, y'all. The orbs are a form of surveillance to the ETs, Niburians who were coming in spatial distance, close spatial distance. So what they did is they started to erect things and show things and started to display things that would fool, or they think would fool, the others coming in. Okay, so I'm bringing that all together to give you context of why I know the Niburians are here. So now we have all these things happening. No one understands the connection to them, but all of a sudden within the same week, maybe right before Lionsgate, was this at Lionsgate? No, it was on the day of Lionsgate. So the 7th, was it the 7th and this, can we get, well, I think it's the 7th and the 8th. On the 7th and the 8th, we had 2 shootings. One was a gentleman who they said was Japanese. Listen to me, y'all. I already cooked for you. So if you were here and you understand what I was discussing, you'll realize where I'm connecting this. If you see the image, matter of fact, I need to look for the image of you. Hold on, y'all. Give me one. I'm going to get the image for you because I want you to see it because you're going to understand what I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm going to do this right now. Hold on.
Might be channeling in a little.
Hold on. I'm just putting.
Let me skip it up just a little bit.
The one of the shooter, both the shooters, the one that shot at New York, that man, and oh, thank you, my love, for the donation. Thank you. And the other shooter, the 2 shooters, because we had them side by side, but I don't know where we put them. If you can get them, like the shooters, the 2 shooters, the Asiatic shooters. Can you send it, Yafi? You have it? Wait, maybe it's in our group. Hold on, y'all. I'm a little slow with technology. Forgive me. Hold on. I think we have it. Yafi said we have it in our group. Ah, thank you, Yafi. She got it. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Yafi's got one of the images. And if it's possible, Yafi, do you have the image of the other guy as well? Thank you. Yafi's got it, y'all. So I'm going to show it to you. Okay, let me share. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm going to share this image with y'all. And then I'm going to discuss it. Okay. All right, so you guys see the image? I'll wait until I'll make sure you can see the image. I know I'm a little delayed, so I'm just waiting until the image shows up on the delayed version, making sure you can see it. So when I see it, you can see it. Okay, there it goes. I think it's going to show up. Holy cow. It's not showing up on the page. Oh, okay, here it is. I want you to look at the image, everyone. So when I'm showing you the image right now, thank you, Demache. Demache has the other image. Thank you, Sea Stars. So why I'm showing you this image is I want you to look at this gentleman right here. Look at this gentleman. And I want you to see how he looks. Now, if you didn't know any better, remember they're saying that he's half Japanese. Listen, y'all, listen to me. He's half Japanese, right? And he's half brown, right? And they gave some weird old, remember I talked about the fact of the matter is they have an old image of him on a basketball and football, and in a matter of minutes he does a shooting, and all of a sudden you have just very easily and last minute you have an image of him on a football interview talking about the last play of the game out of the blue. No, that was geoengineered. This is the image that they want you to be afraid of. So what they did is, this personally I know is a psyop. I know now it's a psyop. This person was geoengineered to give you an image of a Nigerian. This is how the Nigerians look. They look like Cambodians, Asiatic brown people. And they want you to see that the scouts that are here are very similar in Asiatic brown look. So what they want to do is they want to show an image that gets into the subconscious to people. So now you start to do the hunting for them. So now that in your subconscious, you're looking for a certain phenotype that matches the image of what is perceived to be a terrorist. Okay. So this is one of them. Let me get the other image. Hold on, y'all. This is him, supposedly. This is the same guy. So when you're looking at the image now, you're seeing him with the football picture. And this was him supposedly doing an interview that the government had, where they did an interview with this young man years previous to him doing a shooting. And luckily and just conveniently, he kills himself on the 33rd floor after he shoots 3 executives from BlackRock. Okay, so you do see his imagery. Does that look like an image of something that you normally see do mass shootings? And we talked about this before. When have you ever seen a brown guy who's an athlete? Because he's an athlete. This is what they're telling us, which I think is I personally think it's geoengineered. I could be wrong, but this is a geoengineered so-called image of a brown person who would literally put his life in risk and go and shoot 3 executives from BlackRock and kill himself for Gaza. Okay. Now, when have you ever seen brown people do that? Brown American people do that. Now they'll say he's half Japanese. That makes no sense. He's still raised in the United States. But why do I tell you that he's half Japanese? Why did they tell you? Why was that important? Because normally when they see brown people, they don't ever tell us what we're half. We could be half white. We could be half green. We could be half alien. They never say that. One drop of brownness, you a Negro. Okay. Anytime you've heard news talking about people, have they ever said they're half anything? They always tell us that we're black. You're black, this black man. They don't care if you're half Hispanic, half lunar, half green, half blue. When have they ever mentioned your ethnicity when it comes to brownness? They won't do that. But in this case, they had to mention that he was half Asian. Why would that matter? To the average lunar person, they can't tell the difference. Most lunar people may not be able to differentiate when we're mixed, especially with a melanin component, like a person who's Asiatic. It's hard for them to sometimes decipher that we're mixed with anything. They just think we're another brown person. So why would that be something you mention? Okay, look at this young man. Do we have the other image of the other young man that did the shooting, that shot the do we have the other image of the other man that shot the soldiers? Do we have that? I don't think we have the other image. Hold on, y'all. There's another image that I had of the young man who was, Yafi, do you have the other image of the young man who shot the soldiers? Or Damashe, remember the guy who shot the soldiers? The one who shot the 5 soldiers at the base? I want to show you why this matters, y'all. And I'm going to tell you after I show you the 2 images why it should matter to you. And what they're intending to do is to psyop and to put a certain visual in your subconscious to vilify what they know to be the scouts of Nibiru that are literally walking around and they can't differentiate. And now I understand why Trump banned. Okay, wait, hold on. I think Yafi put the other image of. Oh, not him, Yafi. That guy's crazy too, Yafi. That's not him. Okay, here he is. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Damashe. I'll wait a minute and I'll show you the image. The guy with the Palestinian shirt. Oh, you look crazy. He has like a Palestinian shirt. No Palestinian is wearing that. Thank you, Yafi. That's not the one, but that's the other guy that they said was involved too. No, he's wearing a mask. He looks like he's wearing a mask. But I'm waiting till this image shows up. Give me 1 minute and it will show up. I'm a little delayed, so I may delay on this until I see it on the image. Thank you, Sea Stars. Thank you for this. Okay, I want to show this image right now. What you're going to see is the two images, another one. So what is interesting is that this was a gentleman who shot 5 other soldiers, a sergeant, 5 other soldiers on his base, supposedly. But what is the likelihood that another shooting within a day would be reminiscent of a look that looks very similar to the other gentleman? Do you notice the eyes and the ear setting? Let me get your comments on his look. You don't think it's interesting that he has also very Asiatic features? His eyes are very Asiatic in features. This is a Nigerian, y'all. I actually think that they gave us a Nigerian that they have seen, maybe they had captured or they know, and they are basically showing us these images to put that into our subconscious. Do you guys see the eyes? I want to see if you guys see it. Hold on, I'll give you a moment and let's see. Do 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 do. Okay. Now, what I'm telling you, y'all, is this is the Nigerians are showing. The Nigerians are on land. Whether these are actually Nigerians that they have captured, taken pictures of, and proposed them as terrorists, okay? Because when you say that a sergeant has shot 5 soldiers and you haven't given context, why would he do that? Okay? Why would he shoot 5 of soldiers? And how does he have the capability of shooting 5 other men? I'm just asking for a friend. Okay. You don't think that 2 brown men in the span of 2 days doing a shooting and they both have Asiatic features? That's not shocking. Brown people have a variation of phenotypes. We do have Asiatic features, especially those of us who are more native to the Americas, because we mix with those who are Asiatic in the Americas that came afterwards. But the fact that you have 2 men with Asiatic features and all of the Nigerians that I saw on the ship were Asiatic or brown and Asiatic and brown, it's interesting to me that all of a sudden we're starting to see these images of brown, Asiatic-eyed males that are supposedly terrorists out of the blue. When have you ever seen brown men shooting up places and doing terrorist acts like that? Okay. I'm just asking, when have you ever seen it? It generally has to do with maybe something when brown people, we're talking about a collective and it's a generalization, but you have to know that certain groups of people have more propensities of doing certain things for certain reasons than others. Okay. You have 2 people and this is what you're seeing, Asiatic people. I actually think that they took images of what they knew were Nigerians, pasted them as criminals and terrorists, and are showing. I don't know if you think I'm crazy. I want you to look back at these movies like Eraser with who is an Eraser? What's his name? Not Bruce Willis. The Terminator. What's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go look back at movies like Eraser and other movies where when they want to Time Cop. What's the one with Sly? He played in another one. I think it was called Time Cop, when they show like these images of beings and they take their images, superimpose it. We got AI imagery all over the place. They superimpose it, they put it on television, they say that they're criminals, and now they created a whole criminal, even though they didn't do it, but they can superimpose it, make a green screen. With AI generation, you can make anything look real. Okay. So okay, I just wanted to show this image real quick. I'm going to take it off. Okay. Thank you, Yafi and Delmarche. This is what, let me show the image that